World Order. Study the social games and methods of tyrants. Enemies are slick because they're adept at psychology, sociology, covert hypnosis, NLP techniques, and every related technique. There are many good liars in the world. Plus, they run the schools, many churches, and the mainstream media. You've hopefully heard the term cuck, rhino. Sometimes people act like there is a workaround to everything every time. Nope. The NWO has workarounds to popular votes. What tactics and strategies for challenging petty tyrants work best for you or could work best for you? Sometimes a shill who is new to NLP, embedded commands, etc. will speak like an idiot. One-word sentences, bad attempts at embedding, constantly chunking up and chunking down like a dishonest sales rep, the inability to ask a coherent question, the inability to ask a simple question, inability to make a notarized written promise, doe eyes, odd hand gestures, and unusual body language, etc. These are signs you're dealing with a troll or an informant. Watch and remember the speech patterns of foes right in front of you, not just on TV. Local phony friends might be volunteers for some pressure group or worse. Get your critics and the mouthpieces you encounter off script. You don't need their validation or blessing to live free. If you can find out who sent the troll, that's a plus. Knowing the troll's real name is helpful. Fake news and front campaigns. Let me talk for a minute about online trolling. In 2010, a seemingly dim-witted candidate for Congress used fake social media profiles to entice the sheeple to vote for him. What is significant about the woman fake profile is her profile was vague, and the profile picture was that of a doe-eyed woman, like the empty skull Kool-Aid drinkers on campus. She basically complained she and others didn't want to lose their homes, and maybe it was time for a change in D.C. But the problems are, Bush gave away the store in his second term, and the D's had just taken over Congress in 2006. The government allowed and or required banks to lend to broke people to buy homes. Americans cannot depend on the news or the government to provide financial education. Neither the banks nor foolish homeowners were in reality entitled to a bailout. This sounds harsh, but it's not. Further, the people in my view who were right about the '08 crisis were Robert Kiyosaki, Ron Paul, and a slew of financiers who are experts on classical economics. Normies hate the four mentioned to this day. But normies love the rhinos, the broken progressive clocks, when they're right twice a day, and still doggedly insist on supporting the dog and pony show, where reform, rugged individualism, and self-education are not really accepted. After a failed bid for Congress, this candidate tried again, but this time made a fool of himself by supporting a bogus freeway construction bill that wasted at least $1 billion of taxpayer money. Now let's look at today. The state GOP leadership is anti-Trump. The base is taken for granted, gaslit, and mocked on progressive Christian radio, and even conservative radio, and of course on social media. Things are still great for Oregon's political establishment despite Bush, Obama, the 2008 financial crisis, and the homelessness problem. Few people dare discuss Agenda 2030. People are trained to get excited and start flaming when a conspiracy theory is floated. Go to a local GOP or LP meeting, and reformers are preempted with no conspiracy theories, have a positive attitude, be giving and conciliatory. People sitting around talking about game, conspiracy, men's rights, and so forth are terrorists, rapists, and narcissists to the kingpins. And these accusations are only to stimulate and foster discussion. Sure, pal. These accusations are to make fresh new cucks out of any individuals and to pave the way for the second coming. Oregon has been solidly D for nearly 40 years, recycling tepid talking points, mirroring, ghosting, misquoting, and gaslighting are the norm. Don't forget about courtesy laughs and the Ferengi moves. The games and methods of tyrants. Let's get back to the games and methods of tyrants. Online, their volunteers confuse the terms loser and looser, border and border. They will share memes and videos of millennial snowflakes and bashing out-of-kilter celebrity opinion, as if that helps drain the swamp or make us more physically fit or wealthier. What the bashing does do is give our side a false sense of confidence. Then the mystics go to work. A large Facebook page that purports to be conservative constantly posts tepid rah-rah talk. Recently, this page started to shame people, an SJW tactic, who quit their jobs. A real conservative shouldn't care if another person quit their job, but the elite's uniparty sure does. We have to analyze before we decide to volunteer for the swamp for free. We have to think before the slick psychology church dude bro, the allegedly conservative guy in the vent room, or the trad thought screw us out of our money, our rights, and our time. The trad thoughts, or just thoughts, and the guy in the vent room might actually be very good lawyers toying with someone, or displacing the real deal with a fake profile. These people tend to be passive-aggressive. They doubtless want a place in the new world order. If you challenge or catch them in a big lie, they'll gaslight you and harass you online and in real life. You don't have to get a degree to learn to analyze. If you get a degree, that's not really in demand. Could a reasonable person fear you lowering your standards to pay off debts? Sometimes businesses play games with other businesses, voters, elected officials, media personalities, and consumers. I tune out speakers who claim to see no relation between politics and business, doing politics and doing business. If you and your MMG choose to study or discuss the games and methods of tyrants, do it quietly. Maybe your employer, doctor, or vendor would rather you help them ambush and belittle genuine individuals for free. I'd charge a very high cash-only price. F you. Pay me. Student leadership. One thing Oregon student leaders did, and still do to dog non-student leaders is, what eh? Or translated, what is it? When the leader knows damn good and well what it is. Professors will dog you too. The grown-up student leaders just dog the conservative, the Christian, the libertarian, and people will put up with it because of fear and the madness of dealing with Kool-Aid drinkers. Where I grew up, the churches and the public schools were connected at the pelvis after about 1988. Psychology and hypnosis were in full effect. I believe many people interested in FI, financial independence, IM, internet marketing, and trading investing use SJW and Scientology techniques on others and on themselves unwittingly. What they do is laugh a silly laugh, repeat questions for eternity, nod their heads like idiots, minimize their marks' achievements, and male volunteer thought cops make feminine or soy expressions and gestures. At present, dim-witted rhinos, Christian churches, the media, and public schools still dog all opposition ruthlessly. Not many men will speak of the manosphere or Atlas Shrugged or some intelligent subjects. No, we worship feminism, globalism, and the ghettos and lawlessness they provide. Rhinos become angry when people like college Republicans ask them why we don't fight back. They'll just say, "What do you mean?" and cock their heads like dogs. In 1988 or so, my church youth group was going to recreate an underground church meeting like they have to have in dictatorships. But we didn't. And that was appropriate because the GOP was off the rails, globalism was in, social justice warrioring was in, Maoist-style tattletales were in, book reading was out, questioning any politically correct authorities was out, and occultist, globalist, accelerationist professors trying to force Jesus Christ to return was in. Lots of little clues and insights were given about the NWO and Maoism in school and on the news. The Tea Party and Alex Jones's Endgame didn't fare well here. The opposition is very well trained. Just like big corporations dictate the instruction of personal finance in public schools, the foxes instruct the chickens. Possible stopgap measures. If you've been saving and investing, you can resign from jobs overrun by thought cops or children who need to reinvent the wheel. If you feel the need to burn your adversaries, that's one way. If you can't just walk away, you can search job listings and or make yourself a harder target for the tough guys gunning for you. Don't worry about the judgment from the non-judgmental busybodies at work. It may be hard to accept, but claiming to have social skills doesn't bestow the authority to run roughshod over someone the elites don't approve of. There are several high-quality videos at my blog, excesscash.net, that discuss minimalism, extreme saving, and LBYM. You might check those out. Ego causes us to go too far. Predators and volunteer thought cops encourage us to overreach, to go beyond our expertise, and overinflate our confidence and self-esteem. Enemies will puff you up. Then when you fail, they'll go project their false virtue. But people with too low self-esteem, who feel they can't have any honor or self-esteem, probably won't be helpful to your mastermind because of the fear of the said predators. But they'll tattle and hold up the line at the store. Sad. The globalist idea has been to devalue the U.S. and buy it back for pennies on the dollar. Now you understand why my IRA, Obamacare, and the demonization of cash hoarders, minimalists, and gold bugs in the United States is so important to the globalists. We are supposed to volunteer to be thought leaders, social justice warriors, and tattletales to keep the globalist agenda on track. We're supposed to teach others that all old stuff is worthless and evil, even the Bible. We're supposed to repeat mantras and canned talk of big business, the global elite and big government. We're supposed to demean and waste the time and energy of genuine individuals who refuse the Kool-Aid and have never harmed us. You can blame the system, you can blame genetics, but it's even worse to just sit there being docile and not reading, investing, learning skills, shedding fat, etc. Find a workaround to a barrier or failure if one exists, and come up with 2 backup plans in case your primary plan fails. An optimal thing to do is form an informal mastermind group. Stay focused on your stuff and be wary of deception and distraction. Your mastermind should and may eventually be a refuge for its membership. If you are currently not dealing with detractors in your hair, make excellent use of time and energy, and never beg for scraps from Lucifer's table. Back to cutting costs. Another action to take is to suggest to your employer they enact a clothing optional day. You can tell them the business will save 14% on uniform expenses. Actually, it's 14.28%, but you don't want to oversell this idea. The 10 Commandments of the Mastermind.